Hello and welcome everybody to the ninth episode of the Bootleggers BuzzCast, which is the Bootleggers podcast. You are joined today by Riot and myself, Flames. Hello, Mr. Riot.
What's up? We are fresh out of the happy hour. Where I've had quite a few beers. A lot of fun. I'm hoping to see some people next week as well.
The happy hour, how did that go? So this is like this new thing that you wanted to do, and you basically just invited everyone to have some drinks of their choice, and you were just going to chat about BL, right?
Yeah, well, somebody was going through doing all the mass boost, which we'll get into later.
Yeah.
It's like, man, let me know. Let's have a beer sometime. Like, you know what? We can do that virtually. So we set up a happy hour, and everyone brings their own beer, and we hop on Zoom and have a beer together. And for the last second notice, at one point we had probably 10 people. Most of the time it was around 5 or 6, but a lot of fun. Got to chat with some players.
You think you'll do it again?
Definitely. I think we should do it right before every single BuzzCast that we have. We should pregame with a happy hour.
Yeah, it's quite a good idea, actually.
Hard questions.
Get some audience into this thing as well. So actually, you probably wouldn't realize if you listen to this, the recording version of this, which is going to come out about a day and a half after we're actually talking today. So it's now Saturday afternoon in the UK. And if you're listening on the recording, it's the first time we've done it, but we're actually going out live as well to a few people that are listening. We've got about, 10 people listening in the channel, something like that. So there are 10 people listening live, and we're going to record it all. And so for those who, if you're not one of those 10 people, you're actually hearing our voices recorded on Saturday afternoon. But I think the more like the live version, like the broadcasting stuff, is probably going to be a bit better, isn't it? Because then we can make it a little bit more interactive for people as well, and then we can start doing stuff like we always talked about, like things like competitions whilst we're chatting and stuff. So hopefully your happy hour goes hand in hand with that. It should be quite fun.
Sure.
Yeah. So what was just the non-BL stuff first? What was your drink of choice?
So I'm drinking some of these like Terrapin. It's from Athens, Georgia. It's
Right.
from the same beer company that they do a lot of filming in Georgia. They filmed Endgame. I don't know if you have seen Endgame. But,
I haven't seen that.
it's very good. And there's a beer that Thor has that he's drinking because since the previous Avengers movie, things have not gone well for him. No spoilers there.
Okay.
It was actually this local Georgia beer that he had found and actually fell in love with and was drinking a lot. And he was like, "Oh, I want to be drinking this in the movie." So this small beer company from Georgia, this massive boost when it's Thor's drink of choice, sitting around drinking beer.
I've watched The Walking Dead. That's in Georgia, right?
Yes, it is. Close to where I work, working as driver's license software. We actually have recording studios right next to us. One of them, they the TV show The Resident, and the other is Doom Patrol. Is right there as well as some. So it's kind of cool to like go for a walk and just kind of walk past all these movie studios.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Here in Georgia.
So that's cool. So we don't, as always, we don't really have like a specific agenda, except with the exception of one thing, which we're going to come on to later, which is we've got some new feature announcements that we're going to make. Until then, though, usually what we do is we have a chat with some crews about the scoring periods, just how it's going for them and stuff. So I thought we'd just have a quick review of who won the last period, how it's going this period, just whilst but it'll just be for the two of us. I've noticed that one of the people that's listening is Sin. Sin's always been an awesome contributor at the BuzzCast here. So at some point, maybe we can ask Sin some questions as well. But period 8 has just finished, only a few weeks ago. And it was won by Beyond Bars by a huge margin of like 1.5 billion. So, and we're currently in period 9, and they're leading that too. So Beyond Bars are obviously having a pretty good time of it at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they doubled what the fifth best team crew did, the Colombo family.
Yeah.
Uh,
To be
their
honest,
score.
somebody who's responsible for the Colombo family should really have to, answer to why they only got half the score of Beyond Bars. If only there was somebody on this call that could explain just how badly the Colombo family did in period 8. Sin,
Hello.
Sin, what went wrong? Period 8.
We were in war, maybe? That was like one of the big things that happened. We were so ready. We've been waiting for a month to win period 8, then we get shot by the company, and our chances were depleted.
Okay, and so you were slammed by Beyond Bars, as was most people. But second place in period 8 is a crew called the Fake Taxi, which today only has 3 members. What is that about? Anyone got any insights? I'm gonna have to ask you, Sin, because I'm not really close to the gameplay.
I think 2 weeks ago they shot their own members.
What?
Yeah, I think 2 capos. Like the first capo shot on. I think, like, I'm not very sure, but from what I've seen, a capo.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Okay, so the capos shot their own members, or after winning, after coming second, I should say.
Yeah. No, it wasn't this period. Period 9. They started shooting themselves. I think that's what happened.
Oh, right. Okay. We have to get somebody from the Fake Taxi on the next one to explain that, because that is hilarious if that really happened. But yeah, they did well. They sort of came out of nowhere and then came second, and then this period have completely disappeared. So that's a bit strange. So if anyone out there is from the Fake Taxi, would like to.
I want to know what the crew name is about.
Okay, so yeah, that also. So I do know what that's about, and I can't. I don't want to. And I don't want to go into too much detail about what that is. But I am aware of what that is. Do you want me to? Do you want me to give you a slight insight? Because I think it's a UK thing. But it's also a porn thing.
I associate most UK things with.
Yeah, it's a porn thing. I think it's like a porn channel, and I have so we may as well end that there. But there we go. So Fake Taxi second to Beyond Bars in period 8. Period 9, there seems to be some crazy thing where capos shot their members, so we'd love to have more clarity on that next time we talk.
This is why kills aren't calculated in the leaderboard. We just have like Capo constantly killing his crew members.
Yeah. The amount of people that say kills should be included, and it's times like that where you're like, come on, look what would happen. Even without that scoring, look what happens. Period 9, though, Sin, you've picked yourselves back up out of your 5th position, and you're rocking it not far behind Beyond Bars in 2nd place. How are you getting on this period? Are you trying your hardest and not quite making the cut against Beyond Bars? Why are they so much better than you this period?
We're always trying our hardest. Well, that's a good question. Why are they doing well? Well, if you check their crew page, they might have over 20 Eldons. That's a big factor.
It's a
definitely.
Thing. Okay.
Yeah. Mostly they do. They've been resetting a lot of booze and aerial this round. After we got shot last period, we've been recovering really well. We were doing so much better than we thought, but we're still aiming for number 1. So if you're interested in the revenue period, then keep an eye till this next Saturday, because ranks might change.
Oh, okay. Ranks might change? Your ranks or Beyond Bars ranks? What are we saying? That sounds like a little teaser.
Maybe ours and Beyond Bars.
Oh, goodness. Okay. It sounds like some action coming up. We'll have to have you back on if something goes down to let us know what happened.
Just noticed
definitely.
That one of the guys that was in the happy hour, B50 there, is the capo of the Elite Guards.
The Elite Guards. What a name.
They're 3 spots ahead of us as staff. So,
what?
I'd like to blame our capo for that.
Yeah, that is a cool name, to be fair. It was
capo
a good name.
We can only have the 4th gun, and we can't hold property without his permission.
You're restricted to 30,000 bullets.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So that all sounds pretty good. I'm just trying to look through the current period 9, to see what else is going on. Royal Family still hitting top 3, so they're really good at this sort of thing, aren't they? Axe Teas seem to reband together. I saw over the last couple of weeks, and they're actually top 5. So that's quite impressive after they've only just come back together again. So that's they've obviously put in some work. And the Panose is still top 5, and yeah, those guys have been rocking the top of the leaderboard for quite some time.
We have TKS here. I want to know where the Hangyard name. Some obscure reference that I don't get, or
yeah, the Hangyard. What's that? That's if he unmutes his mic and tells us it's a porn thing. He's going to tell us a porn thing, isn't it?
It's the UK. Oh my god.
TKS, you here? His mic's unmuted, but I'm not hearing him. So we're gonna have to assume that he's not going to tell us what the Hangyard is. Is a cool name.
It's because we already got it. It's definitely a porn thing.
Yeah. What else we got? So we've got all the usual crews sort of sitting in like the top 15 and stuff. We've got Legion. I think someone from Legion's also on the call. If they, I think they were earlier. But no, we've also got the Dog Pound sitting in 15th position. Dog Pound, big crew, been around for ages. They not seem to be hitting the top 5 very much. So we'd like to see them come up the leaderboard a bit, wouldn't we?
I think when it first started, the leaderboard, there's a lot of people trying for that first spot.
Yeah.
And kind of like, it's not worth the grind to get to that much. And now you have 2 or 3 teams that kind of compete in the beginning, and somebody pulls a big lead. I think the crew leaderboard works better when it's kind of like in the background, which is kind of measuring their play, so kind of what people win, as opposed to something that people are directly trying to strive for. If you want to strive for it a lot, you spend a lot more gold maybe than you're going to get back.
Sure.
Still seem like a great investment in my mind, but there's no price for glory, right? And you win one period, you have forever won that period, and you get the trophy with your name. Kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, and one of the things that we've asked, Kyle said he's going to develop as well, is like a graphical representation of your score over time. So, for example, on your main crew page, you will see yourself, like if you're bumping around, 7th, 15th, 10th, or whatever, you'll see it in period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4. Just so that you can get that would be quite a cool graphical representation to have for the crews, I think, on the main page, which Carl, I think, is doing. That would look cool. So, yeah, I suppose that's it for the sort of crew scoring element. So congratulations to Beyond Bars for winning period 8. And in period 9, looks like they might do it again. Sin, who's on the call, has suggested things may change. So we will, hopefully in the next podcast, we have some news about that. And then the last thing is we would love to know about the name originations from TKS regarding the Hangyard and the fake taxi. We know roughly what it is, but we'd love to know the story of what happened to your crew in period 9. And I think that's about it. Anybody else on the call wanting to say anything about period 8 or 9, about scoring? I'm going to have an awkward pause for 10 seconds whilst people can unmute their mics and ask a question or say something if they want to. Really awkward 10 seconds. Super awkward. Making it so awkward in here. Nope, no one's going to say anything. This
is Joe when he's standing in the queue at like any restaurant or something. He's like, super awkward. Awkward in here.
Okay, so we don't really have a set agenda, but the second thing that we said that we would at least want to touch on at all, and again, anybody that's in the call, feel free to weigh in on this, is recent, there seems to have been a lot of recent discussion about bans and boosts. We also recently put up a sticky in the game forum regarding the BOS list, because one of the things that we've noticed is that there is a rule which states that you can't knowingly assist a BOS player, and then someone challenges back to say, well, how do I know who's a BOS player? Which was a fantastic challenge, so we thought we'd publish the list. So we have, in terms of bans and boosts, I thought we could just maybe start off a quick discussion about that. Feel free to, have you got anything you want to start off by saying, Mr. Riot?
First off, he never really posts about it because it's one of the tools that he made for us. I do want to say to Croft, as many people don't know, the old method of boosting was to go through, look at your last account, see how much cash, experience, gun, and stuff you have, go through, and we'd enter in the system 10 million cash. So 5 bullets, submit. Just calculating how much stuff, and then we send a message. And I would say from start to finish, the average boost took about 5 minutes, which doesn't seem. We ended up getting full boost quite at once. I found out that the cheating went way back, months, a year. Increased our tools now. We've been able to catch some more stuff. And so we had at one point over 100 boosts to do, which is very hard, that method. So we actually we're working to create a SQL statement, something that we can just enter into the database, and it would do the boost for everybody all at once.
Yeah.
And we thought it short, so we went through and did it all by hand. A few mistakes, but everything got kind of situated. But it's a very lengthy process. It's just away from the help. And also like other investigations, just because it's very, there's just kind of all this information, trying to keep track on who's been boosted, hasn't. And when Kyle kind of got wind of this, he's like, okay, give me a little bit. I got something for you guys. And a day or 2 days later, not very long, he unleashed this very awesome boost tool. We can now do things, it'll all come from the system, so there's no human error. And it does it right away. It's absolutely amazing. The only problem with it right at first is it sent out a little message. It would just say, you've been given all this stuff by Riot. And it looked like I was just sending stuff out like it was Christmas. So, yeah. Change.
Yeah.
Include
so it was
yeah,
I mean, it was a bit of a game changer for us, because I think that one of the things that we spoke about as a team is that we invest a lot of our time in trying to clean up the game in terms of all the various rule breaks, and sometimes it because the boost administration took so long. Actually, what it was like a horrible vicious cycle, because the more work you put into finding cheating and the more bans that you did, the more work you would create yourself, because the list of boosts grow and the boosts themselves take a long time, as well as the other bit that you didn't mention, as well as the amount of time it takes. It's also the high percentage chance of error, because as you were just saying, you would literally physically manually type in exactly what you want to give. Putting a wrong zero on 50,000 bullets is a big problem. And so the more work you do, you're just creating yourself that amount of work again. So from a motivation, not that anyone needs to get the violin out for us in terms of any sympathy, but the motivation isn't great, because it's like the more work you do, the more work is created. So it was a really nasty vicious cycle for a while. So there was that. We obviously recently put a couple of players on the BOS list who had essentially killed a lot of the game. So there was a ton of, go, man.
I just want to say, if you get yourself on the BOS list, you really had to earn that.
And you've worked hard for that.
You've only got there with us begging with tears in our eyes for you to stop. It's not something, some people are like, oh man, there's quite a lot of people that have been added with such a small player base. And it's like, I think there's a lot of people that buy a shortcut game. Maybe an extra count here. Oh, I heard about this auto clicker, which now we have reCAPTCHA in the game, which is everything almost. And people try little shortcuts. I see 90% of them get like caught doing something. They're like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I thought everyone else was doing it." Keep track of the counts. They don't do it again. People are like, "Okay, you call me." And there's some people that keep doing it over, and you're like, "Hey, man, this is your last chance. What are you doing? Stop doing it, or we're gonna just take it as not gonna play fair. You're not good enough to compete with fair players. You need this cheat." And at some point, we just have to say, "Hey, you not be in the game anymore. You're an absolute liability to everyone trying to play fair." So if somebody gets on the BOS, it's not something we hand out like smooth stone presents. It's definitely an earned.
Yeah, it is. Without any exceptions, everybody on the BOS list has had several individual accounts banned, and continues to break one of the three major rules. So although we can't discuss any specific bans because it wouldn't be fair to them, really, the three main things are using a proxy to sort of bypass who you are, duping, like having more than one account, and in most of the BOS lists, several accounts, and using some sort of auto scripting tool or bot. All three of those things make it unfair for everybody else. So we have like pretty much our entire role is quite a lot of administration involved, and to get yourself banned several times, and with us pleading with people to play clean, and even giving some of the most notorious cheaters in the game several opportunities to sort of play fair, and they still don't. That's what contributes to the BOS list. And Kyle has created this very fancy new tool for boosts. So anybody who ever gets a boost going forward from today will actually get a nice automated message. The error, the human error, is completely removed, because it's literally just now you just click on somebody's life that's assigned to a player that's been banned, and in one click it refunds them everything, essentially. So
everything you got, which is so much better than that message they would get from us. You got boosted from that time you died. When you're in the middle of 100 boosts.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I should say there is one caveat, actually, which is there are a couple of things that are not easy for us to give back, even with this new tool. One is cars, and I only mention that because somebody in the game forum made a big topic about who felt it was a bit unfair. Cars, and the other thing that we would love to give back, but it's technically quite difficult, and I assume it's just something to do with like database structure or whatever, because Carl couldn't do it as easily as the other things, is things like your crime progression. Like if you unlock a new city, or the fact that you've got up to 80% on one of your crimes, those those stats will not return to you, so you get boosted for everything. Yeah.
Crimes was completely overhauled.
Yes, it is. It has been overhauled. So this is quite a nice I didn't even mean to do that, but look how seamless that was. Crime now is not going to be impacted by this, because today we have a new feature announcement. So Kyle's been working hard in the background on several things recently. Some back-end things that players won't see, like the mod tools stuff, also doing some stuff on capture. But actually, we have a player-facing change that is due to be deployed, ready for the new round, so long as none of the testing fails. And the long-awaited crimes overhaul has been completed and is ready for us in testing. So Riot and I and Strikeback and Cybay have all been testing crimes in the dev server over the last few days. And if all goes well through testing, then we are likely to have a crimes overhaul deployment ready for period 10. So in just a few weeks, which is quite exciting. Just to give some background, some context, why would we even want a new crimes overhaul? And it was because we wanted to get away from the click heavy nature of the game. And we were trying to find a way to do that, and we ended up selecting, and we trialed it in one of the events late last year, was to bring in something like an energy model, because what we wanted to do is that we didn't. It's not great for a player's experience point of view if you have to feel like you have to grind one of the features all day to get anywhere. So an energy model would let you, in theory, log in once and use all of your daily energy to make sure that you at least got something for coming into BL once a day.
Now, it's also very realistic, because I feel like I burn all of my daily energy in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm motivated and it's gone.
Yeah, so true. It is so true. And I think that the other point is that when we had the feedback group, when we run the energy model past the feedback group, it did actually receive pretty good comments in terms of the model about how we do it. Because one of the things was that if you did want to grind, let's say, lockdown is a perfect example. If you've got a lot of spare time in your hands and you do want to put in some extra effort, you should also be rewarded for that. And the energy model allows you to do that because the energy refills over time. So if you did want to grind, you would still get something because you will use and you are able to use more energy than someone who's just going to log in once a day, for example.
We're going to actually share this to you guys. Just want to mention that all of like the numbers that you see versus like how much energy you get every 30 seconds, how much the payouts and stuff, are all most likely going to change. Kyle was just building the functionality, some demo information. He's still going through to kind of balance what these numbers should be. And so all those, don't read too much into that, just kind of take a look. We also are going to have an option turned on. There will be some items each place that you will get a new one every time you gain a rank. You'll have the ability to some different items. So one place might drop bullets. So even if you're at the highest crime, if you are a shooter and you want to get some bullets, you can go kind of grind this crime area, get some bullets. So that'll be a thing. And so
so I believe Sybase now showing his screen, and just to run you through the model, here's a couple of things that we want to talk about. So first of all, you get the energy bar at the top, and I would suggest that, like Riot said earlier, don't worry too much about the actual figures that are involved, i.e. how much energy do I have, how quickly does it respawn, and also the values of the stuff that he's getting from doing those crimes. Just focus on the functionality for now. Because this isn't the actual file. This is just the testing version. But what you can see here is that if he scrolls up and down, you've got a load of different crimes, and those crimes are now going to be tailored to the items that drop from the game. So as you can see, he's just successfully committed a crime, and he gets the cash for it if he's successful, but also an item will spin. In this case, Alex has just got a loot box. So you will be able to tailor yourself to say, I want to go for that crime because I know it gives this item. So new crimes unlock as you rank up. But let's say that I'm a Don. I might want to go back and do one of the earlier crimes, the less energy intensive crimes, because I like the weed that one gives me, for example. So what we've just done at the moment is that... Yeah. For our Dutch friends. Now, again, from the testing environment, we've got it switched on so that it pays out a random item every single time. It doesn't matter what the item is, and also the fact that it pays out every time is wrong. It will just, in the live environment, it will be more rare than that. But just so you can get a glimpse at the early functionality, this is the way that the new crimes overhaul is going to be, which is that you select a crime. You can do any crime up until the rank that you've achieved. It reduces your energy, which builds over time. And also it has the opportunity to spill out items like weed, loot boxes, and potentially some other items as well. And you can tailor which crime you want to do based on the items that you want to receive.
Worth noting that right now it's just crimes. There will be more stuff, I believe. Heard autos and stuff like that will be interwoven into the energy bar, that you can kind of focus a lot more on what it is you want to do. If you want to go after, rare cars to sell, you can focus on that. If you want to go after cars that give more bullets, You'll be able to go after that. If you just want to crime, make up some money, you'll be able to do that. So it'd be kind of cool to let players customize kind of how they want their game experience to be, what kind of role they see themselves in their crew or their underground crew or by themselves. There should be some stuff coming up, down the road for like people who just want to hold casinos or gamble and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot more about letting you kind of build your path, which is pretty cool. And I think Kyle's been wanting to get away, and he's talked about for a while getting away from just the clicking. A lot of people say, man, I spend so much time in here, because online clicking, then, you're kind of missing out on opportunities, which is doesn't actually create, people come in and they enjoy being with the crew, talking to people, but just clicking crimes all day, doing not on it, doesn't provide a pleasurable experience. So this is definitely something to kind of help. You can log in a few times a day, your stuff, chat with your crew, and do your thing.
Yeah, so I think the crimes overhaul is pretty nice. Just to explain a couple of things that you've just seen Alex do there, he's got a button called Refill Energy, which is obviously just for testing purposes. And the other thing that you just saw him do is he did some of those bottom crimes, which are available at sort of Don Plus. So the final crime, for example, was that legendary Don one that he's just done. Now, again, don't worry too much about the actual figures, but an interesting one is that one would consume your entire daily energy, but it would only take you a quarter of the step. So the idea would be that you would progress that crime through over, sorry, I said daily energy, but I mean like a block of energy. So it would consume your entire block of energy, but the payout would likely be worth your investment. So in terms of getting away from that click-heavy element of things like crimes, this is perfect because as a legendary Don now, I don't have to sit and crimes is pretty much pointless as a legendary Don unless you want to grind the 4K crimes on City 8. It's not really worth it. In this case now, you can just in one click use all of your energy to get back that hopefully reward on that one click in terms of a high cash value and the potential for getting some items. So I'm thinking that the move away from the click heavy, I'm thinking that gone are the days of click heavy on BL. And also, like Riot says, is that the idea would be that you would get a merged energy between the crimes and also the AB. But it's looking pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think some people, I think the one concern people may have is like, oh, I play a lot. I grind, it gives me an advantage. I lose this advantage, but I definitely think that there will be more stuff coming up to where more active players are rewarded. We can all agree that something like this can lower your requirements, like how much it takes to play and be competitive, which I think is overall good for the game.
Yeah, I believe so. So there is, for the eagle-eyed viewers who are watching this, there is one other thing that we're just going to draw your attention to, which is not specifically about crimes, but on the right-hand side of Alex's screen here, you can see that the current location of Alex is actually in a new place called Rocky Mount. So we'd also thought that we would give a bit of a teaser about this secondary update that's coming, which is new to everybody's ears, I believe. So one of the things that's going to happen, I should close off the crimes thing by saying, I think we already mentioned it, but just to let you know that as long as testing goes well, then this will be delivered into period 10, which is upcoming soon. This next thing is a swap from states to cities. So we are going to rename Nevada Las Vegas, for example. And everything on the map will be a city instead of a state. That's obviously not the whole update because that would be a bit underwhelming. But we do have a new city coming out, which is the city of Rocky Mount in Virginia. And
as Flames like to call it, Arizona.
I thought it was in Arizona, but yeah, it could have been anywhere for all I knew. To be fair, Rocky. I don't know what was I think. Rocky Mountains. Where's the Rocky Mountains?
The Appalachian Mountains kind of go up from Georgia up to there. The Rocky Mountains are actually in Colorado, which is one of the square states.
Okay, got it. Oh, that was the previous BL state, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we should explain the purpose a little bit. Let me give you some background on this new feature as well. So the protection timers, me just saying those two words is probably going to really divide the crowd. Protection timers, I have a personal opinion on this, which is the game needs a protection timer. I absolutely believe that for new and returning players, or players that are sort of caught in a loop where they're being targeted by somebody who's like superior. There needs to be some element of just giving yourself a bit of a bit of respite from being attacked all the time. So I believe a protection timer is some form of protection is correct. However, whenever you put in some sort of model that ultimately makes somebody unkillable, I think that really can affect gameplay because it's just so open to abuse. So Kyle's idea is to replace a protection timer with essentially a beginner's city. So when you first sign up to BL now on a new account, and all new accounts will start in the city of Rocky Mount. And whilst you're in Rocky Mount, you're essentially protected. So it's like a nerfed city where we don't have all the details of what's going to happen to lock down the abuse in terms of existing players traveling into Rocky Mount. But from a base point of view, what we're going to do is we're going to have a new city which is going to be completely nerfed. The crime values will be lower, the OC payouts will be lower, the cars that you can get will be crappy. You start here and you can't be shot. That's essentially it. So also for extreme on the if you were to put like how competitive is the average player, might be like a 5 or a 6. There are some hard BL players, but there are also some extremely casual players who just sort of log in for purely social. We do have some of those sort of people. For those guys as well, perhaps Rocky Mount is also going to be nice where they will hang out because they don't have to get involved in the competition as much. So essentially, oh, sorry, go on.
I mean to cut you off, but I want to say,
yeah, go for it.
Ceilings on there. I remember when Kyle first told us about it. He said like, "Hey, might be able to only get this many bullets. The protection might only be good up until like a certain rank." There's a lot of that kind of getting worked out, but I think now he's working on the switch over to the cities, and then we'll develop all of that. But yeah, so there will be a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's not fair that this account has all these bullets," and then they just shoot me right before their protection timer's up. Right now, there will be a little bit of limit to bullets so that it cannot be used, as part of the strategy, more of hey, I'm a brand new player and kind of figure this game out. You can start there, or like, hey, I'm just getting killed over and over again. Everybody hates me. Let me go to this.
You sound like you're speaking from experience. But yeah, so I think that's going to be a cool change. And you will probably, if you're listening to this, you'll probably have questions about exactly how that's going to work. We will know it's a successful deployment of Rocky Mount if there is no obvious ways that it's being abused, like the protection timer. So protection timer has things like, if I get boosted, I can have a protection timer on my new account. I can have unlimited bullets. I can search somebody and still be protected. What we're thinking is that we will see it as a successful deployment of Rocky Mount if none of those things occur. So
we'll have to let Kennedy come out into who was on the recently talking about how he utilizes the protection timers to his, although he's not a big fan of them. We'll have to let on the testing server, and if he enjoys it, we'll make sure to nerf it more.
Yeah, true. So at this point, that's the two new things that we wanted to talk about, which was one, the crimes overhaul, which is going to go in very shortly, and also the fact that states are swapping for cities, and there will be one that's sort of like the beginner's city, so to speak. So with that in mind, we have a few people who are here listening live. So we thought we would give this a bit of a trial because this is the first time that we've done like a live BuzzCast. So we're going to do that sort of awkward 10 seconds again. If anyone's got any questions or observation or just generally wants to talk about something, firstly related to one of those two things we just talked about, and then we'll have a quick, then you can ask anything afterwards. So does anyone want to raise any questions or feedback about the
Quick, let me say before Sin does.
Yeah.
That Why Me was with DA, and it was not Kennedy. I believe Kennedy was maybe a speaker on the one before.
Oh, yeah, you are right. Oh, that slipped by me as well. Sorry. Yeah, it was Why Me's DA, isn't he?
I'm still enjoying from our happy hour, so forgive me, Why Me?
Why you?
Oh.
So yeah, we have quite a few people listening. To start off, just so we've heard a different voice, Sin is always going to give us some initial feedback. Sin, what are you thinking about the Crimes overhaul? What do you think about the Rocky Mount?
I would, I think I have a lot of opinions always, but I'd love to see it. Well, I do have one question, just a general question, if I may say. A new feature like this, like Rocky Mountain, will bring a lot of change. It's a core feature about protection and in wars. And in this round,
one more time.
What? I missed you. Oh, okay.
One more time.
No, I'm not gonna say any reset. Not now. But what I was going to say is that with the new round, this round 9.75, we have the continue legacy thing. So in Spring Break, we trained our skills to get mana, to get these permanent weapons. So we have to stay with the same name, right? So there are going to be a lot of situations where different people go to war and they want to use their protection without losing their items, right? So how are you guys going to deal with balancing in the future?
I think that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I don't think we can specifically answer that one angle of it on the spot. But what I would suggest is that there's loads of different things that are going to contribute to whether a protection state is going to be balanced or not. And my advice to anyone listening there who's got any concerns like the ones that you've just raised, and specific scenarios as well about what would happen if XXX, this event happens, is that I would suggest you whack them all in the help desk, and we will try and not miss any angle or any. We're trying to not let anything fall through, because we want Rocky Mountain to be a success, really, because we understand that there are some challenges around protection timer. So although we're probably unable to answer specifically how we're going to deal with one thing right now, the one thing that I can say to you, Sin, is that if you raise something, we will look at it all as a bigger picture, and we will make sure that all of the development for Rocky Mount is done with all of the nuances taken out before it goes live.
I was pushing towards this, what you just said, so I just want to make everybody sure that whatever they say is going to be heard. Yeah. And I will take it as my personal job to get you guys who are not being heard to be heard. So I think everybody should try it out. If they like it, that's perfect. If they don't like it, they should communicate with us, and we would surely, make it better.
Yeah.
That's all I want to say.
One thing I always say with feedback, and I'll give you an example how this kind of works, is at the end of the day, I was a software developer, right? They have very one-track minds. They look at things differently than the rest of everybody else. When you have feedback or you have a suggestion, why so much is so important, right? So it says, hey, why is this a factor? And so I was talking to a group. I sometimes become hostages in some group chats that I just randomly get added to in WhatsApp, and one has quite a few. Yes, I am stereotyping devs. Saibe, I can read your text. I was adding this, and everybody's like, one thing. Everybody was like, hey, so we'd like to be able to have some more spots or some more positions in the crew for lieutenants who can handle some of the day-to-day accepting applications, doing stuff like this. And so I chatted with some of you guys who were in there, a lot. I go, okay, well, what does this do? What's it currently like for you? What do you want it to be like? What are the problems it's causing? All that information, we can take it, we give it to Kyle and go, hey, here's kind of what I'm saying. Here's where they're having trouble. Here's why this would help. And it helps him understand. So maybe if it might not be that exact scenario they're looking for, he's going to find a way to kind of meet some of those needs. And with this one, he goes, hey, yeah, I can definitely see why that's be a benefit for some of the crews. I see what they're asking for. I was going to look at adding those spots. So, if you have a request, always feel free to submit a help desk ticket, talk about it. Let us know why and how it affects you and why the change would be better. And we can always pass that on. Definitely listens to player feedback way more than you guys.
We have a question just come in, actually. Let me just take a second to read this one. It's from Striving. One thing is wondering, with the overhaul crime system, will the plus 10% crimes percentage knife still work? I think I saw success percentage in the UI, so I assume so, just making sure. Yes, all of the items that currently hold some sort of value in terms of success increases will all still work, yeah. Although that bit hasn't been specifically tested yet, I believe, because we've only just got our hands on it. My understanding from Kyle so far is that it won't affect any of the current items that are in play. Yeah, so there was something from TKS, actually, who's just also put a little message down, which says he hates protection timers, but he thinks that it would be difficult to make a safe state free from being abused. And I agree wholeheartedly. I think it is difficult. The same way that protection timers in themselves are difficult. You can put in loads of caveats, things like bullet counts and things like if you've started a search and things like if you've been recently boosted. There's just so many different angles, to be honest. I mean, we're quite lucky in some ways because Bootleggers is quite feature rich. There's a lot of angles to it. There's a lot of different ways to play, and people will find ways of maximizing things within the rules. And how do we like mitigate to make sure that if we bring in a protection state, we can only really learn from people. So obviously we have our own opinions after watching the game for so many years. But also, if there are people out there that have concerns about how it could be abused, my advice is just what we just gave to Sin, really, which is make a help desk ticket. You know that this is the sort of idea that's coming. And if you want to just give us some feedback via the help desk to say this scenario, or I'm worried about this, concerned about this, and we'll take it into account during the development. So
I'm seeing some more questions real quick in the chat.
Yeah, go for it.
I think, first of all, they say, no, you can't prevent it from being abused. I think when you put caps on stuff like bullets, rank, cash, what you can bank, and how like the casinos are down there, I don't know if protected accounts will be able to hold casinos, or just regular accounts who can still die there can have them. They're not going to be super great. There's actually one of the, real quick, the voting here. But that was one of the feedback that Kyle had saw from some players who are like, average player can't hold a casino because they're so expensive. So we imagine that some of these, casinos with smaller maxes will be with a lot less gold. So players who are kind of coming up and only have a couple mil in the bank and give it a run. But I think when you put maxes on what you can own, it's instantly going to be a lot less likely to be abused than what we currently have. It's definitely a step forward. Let's see, Ben said, well, the casinos, Rocky Mountain, if you leave the city, we'll be able to go back. Yes, I believe that regular players can come and go in that city, but they can still be searched. Won't be one of the protected accounts unless you have all the restrictions on you. So and you can also get them, but they probably won't carry as much revenue period increases as the other casinos.
I think one nice way to handle this is, because obviously we've just dropped this on you in terms of this is the next feature that's going to come out without much clarity in terms of exactly what's included. I suppose we're stuck in between go for it.
I was going to say, Dutch Boss said, if you can cap it like that again, why not go back to the Boss Plus rank cap again? Dutch, the answer is because Kyle is doing the cities and he's got this awesome idea. So we're going to see how it goes. I think it can be a lot. I think the bodyguard issue should be addressed, guys. I'm getting lots of questions here.
Yeah. So I suppose sometimes it's a bit difficult with this sort of thing because you want to show the fact that we're still designing stuff, we're still releasing stuff, still have a plan in terms of what's coming, but we might not have the exact design of it, how it's going to be. So I hope that you like the fact that we're sort of releasing new features this way now. And if this sort of goes well, then this is potentially one way that we're going to continue to do it, which is that we'll do like a live announcement on the BuzzCast. Everyone can see it in terms of what's being designed, very early stages, and then through the testing process. But I think that the best way to handle this Rocky Mount thing, because there is so many different angles to it, like we've said, is that if you give us a little bit time, we'll come back with like how we think it'll work in terms of some of the, the protection against abuse. And at that point, you can start giving some more feedback. Because I think at this point, there's just so many questions that it's just, it might end up being a bit overwhelming. So I'm thinking that we'll come back shortly with some rough structure to it in terms of like how we're going to protect against abuse, and then you can put some feedback and like suggestions about exactly how it could work.
I think I think the crimes should be looking for next period. Hopefully, we kind of took a stance that we don't want to change any period or anything too crazy that could affect strategy and stuff like that. So crimes might be good to go. I don't know if anything else, but we'll see what Kyle says. And real quick, whenever you see Kyle gone I've learned this, whenever you see Kyle gone for like long periods of time, it's because he has his head down and he's coding. We'll go, man, where is Kyle? I haven't heard from Kyle in a while. And all of a sudden he's like, I got this brand new feature. I just on the dev server.
So we hope you like the format of potentially releasing new features this way. The fact that it was live and you could interact a little bit. I hope you enjoyed doing that. Let us know afterwards how you went, and we'll sort of like respond in kind, really. If you liked it, we'll continue doing it. It's been awesome speaking to you guys today. Hope you like looking at the new crimes feature that should come out in period 10 shortly. And I think that's all from us this week, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, happy bootlegging, everybody, and we'll see you all soon.
That song.